when I moved to Miami, like in, I think it was 1993, in the winter, I had a studio at the Bakehouse Art Complex. And my work started, well, I was working in hydrocal there for the first year. I think I went through 1,500 pounds of hydrocal. But we were on the flight path of Miami Airport. And I started, the planes would be coming and going all day long. And I started noticing the images of the airplane. And then I got off onto this whole nother series that involved jets and airplanes. And I think I've been asked this before, and when I think about it, the initial impulse to do a series about planes came from me noticing that I was noticing them with a sense of longing that I couldn't understand. There was just this longing that you'd see them coming and going, and then the shapes started being interesting to me, and I started photographing them. I was taking photographs, I was Xeroxing photographs, blowing them up to all different sizes and shapes. Some of the images I was putting on hydrocal tablets that I made. Some of it was going on paper. I guess paper, primarily paper and hydrocal. I was still working with smaller, I would cast a hydrocal tablet white, the size of a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, and then doing Xerox transfers, kind of that Rauschenberg technique where you would put lacquer thinner on the Xerox, flip it over, and rub from the other side. Now, if you were transferring that onto paper or canvas, it would come off fairly easily. But on the hydrocal, I had to learn just the right amount of pressure. But you want to transfer, the ink is loose and you want to transfer it onto the hydrocal. So by using like a pencil or a stick to draw, but it would, when you took it off, you'd see the marks like drawing, but it was an ink transfer. So I found, and sometimes they were all different sizes, the full airplane. Sometimes they were just a portion of the tail of an airplane. I was also making stencils and spray painting black paint on the white hydrocal, and it would absorb in almost like velvet. They were like works on velvet. I did a piece that was like 28 of these 8.5 by 11 panels. Each one had a segment of an airplane. So it was almost, Franz Kleinish in terms of very abstract. To me, I was looking at it as completely an abstract exercise. And I remember there was this Israeli curator, can't remember her name right now, who was coming to Miami and doing work and curating some shows, and she came into the studio and she was kind of horrified. She said, "You don't understand. You live in America. You're very safe. But when I see these pieces of planes blown up as an Israeli," she found it disturbing. And I saw it as pure abstraction. And it wasn't until after 9/11, and I was still doing airplane work, that it started to take on completely different meanings. So that when I exhibited at the DeCordova Museum in Lincoln, Massachusetts, I had a 40-foot high wall, and I had a series of about 35 or 40 oil stick on paper on wood shaped airplanes going up the wall. And the docent called me to talk about the work, because she was going to be, leading tours. And she said, I'm talking about the lyrical aspect of them, and birds in flight. And she said, "I see them as weapons." I had to rewrite my artist statement for the museum to reflect the reality of how that work meaning changed.